Hello everybody, and welcome to this, which you definitely didn't expect, and someone's going to be asking in the comments, when did they reveal this for Death Battle? You're an idiot if you do that. So, I'm doing a prediction, not for a Death Battle, not for a fucking rewind ramble, something else, but first I would like to welcome two co-hosts, I could say, two guests of honor, but one of them's just Phantom.
Hi, I am M now. Let's go.
That is true. Public
Thank
claps
you,
for Falcon.
Nemesis. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Anyways, hello there, Bang.
Hello there. I am Bang, or infamously known as BangJang96 on basically any platform, I guess. Yeah, I'm joining Nemesis and Phantom today to talk about a matchup that, honestly, I really like this matchup, and it's coming up as one of the mid-season Generation 1 prediction blogs, and that is Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner from DC, and Simon from Gurren Lagann.
Oh, I just realized I'm going to be calling him Simon and not realizing it this whole time.
Yeah, no, I was like, I was
it
just
gets
in my head like, okay, just remember to call him Simon, not Simon.
It gets to the point where I unironically called Simon Belmont Simone Belmont at one point. It fucked me up.
No. Oh, look at that. It's my favorite
Simone
British
Belmont.
fucking Simone over there fucking... I forgot the last
Fighting Dracula. The Dracula spot.
Simone the British.
Anti-Dracula there.
Look, it's Simone Cowell.
Alright.
Yes.
Anyways,
Just
Simone versus Kyle. I guess to say is that for me, Gurren Lagann is one of my all-time favorite anime, and in general one of my favorite pieces of fiction. And Simone is also one of my favorite characters in all fiction. And in general, I think the matchup is really cool and can have a lot of fun, and it's probably my second most wanted fight at the moment for Death Battle to do. I am definitely rooting
for
Simone
me,
here, but I would be fine with Kyle winning. Kyle's a good boy too.
Now on my end, Kyle's probably my second favorite Lantern of all, with the Orange Lantern Larfleeze being my first favorite. This matchup is probably bumped up to my most wanted matchup now because Adam versus Ant-Man kind of got deconfirmed by the researchers, so that won't really happen anytime soon.
This season, to be fair.
Well, yeah. But, like, I haven't really talked about that in a while, so my hype has kind of died down for a little bit. Like, I don't know where it ranks now, but I think, Simon versus Kyle, this matchup has grown on me ever since about October of last year. I think it's just because I never got to talk about it, and then when it was brought up as a community death battle, I managed to talk about it, and although my arguments were kind of half-baked when I first started, I guess I just got curious about it, and I started liking it a lot. And I started watching Gurren Lagann about a month ago. It took me a while to finish it, though, and I finished it now. And honestly, it's probably on par with Code Geass as, like, my favorite anime ever. It's just so good, like, honestly. Like, I've never really been that, I guess, blown away by it.
I'm just going to say here, the final battle of Gurren Lagann is one of my favorite things ever, and it's so good with the music blowing in the background.
Yeah, the theme song in the background, and, like,
that's my
them
ringtone.
clashing.
That's actually just my fucking ringtone. So I know this is my ringtone.
Just, like, sent so many chills down my spine. Like, that's actually, like, really cool for some reason. Like, I didn't, like, hate the theme song, but, like, I always felt like, yeah, it's kind of there. But, like, when I heard it, like, playing in the final battle, I was like, oh, shoot, this is getting good.
It's so good. I love it. It's one of my favorite anime openings. So good. Apologies if part of this is just me gushing about Gurren Lagann.
Meanwhile,
it's really
I have watched
Then
half of one episode of Gurren Lagann. I have never picked up any comic with Kyle Rayner in it. I don't think I've actually consumed anything relating to Kyle Rayner. And my most wanted Marvel DC matchup is Chaos from Skylanders versus Superhero Squad Show Doom. So, I'm in an awkward position here.
Yeah, I'll mostly be talking on Kyle's end and, like, talking about his feats. I am rooting for Kyle, but I wouldn't mind Simon winning either. Like, if this were to happen as a death battle, I totally wouldn't mind, because I actually do like Simon a lot.
Simone is very much an important character to me, like on a personal note, and I am rooting for him, but it is not because funny DCL, it is because I like him more. He is very cool.
Yeah, honestly, like, yeah. it does kind of stink that Kyle kind of has to take the fall amongst like most DCLs.
Amongst.
No, no, please.
That's
don't torture
okay.
me like
Instead of
this.
that, they can do Mangog versus
Then-
Doomsday. That could be your
That's
DC
a
help.
fat Doomsday elf I've ever seen one.
Oh my god! When
I
I first heard of that, I was like, "Oh, this seems a bit unfair. Mangog's really big, so that means he's probably really strong." And now it's like, "Oh,
And
okay."
he almost
so,
ate Thor, bruh.
Yeah, he
Mangog
vored
is
Thor.
busted. Bored Thor. That's such a weird scan.
Call
Like when I
him
first saw, it, I was like,
Thor Odinson.
this is the
same
iconic
energy as
scan.
that time Sandman vored himself into Spider-Man.
Oh, and the Marvel zombies.
God, that was so weird. You know the one where
Oh,
like
it's so
Sandman
gross.
blows up in Sci-Fi?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So
He
gross.
blows him out from the inside. Oh, that
So
was...
gross.
Look, why doesn't he do that in
That's
616?
Because I don't think anyone wants to see
What?
that again.
Yeah, that's probably
Plot and do stupidity.
stupid.
quotes.
Same reason Barry Allen's Rogues Gallery is mostly street tears. Just stupidity.
Barry Allen. I like Barry. He's cool.
Barrel.
Barry-
Totally won't chill Barry halfway through the episode.
Very good boy. I like him, but also Wally's my favorite Flash. So lol.
I'm just-
Barry's my favorite Flash,
Could you
mostly
imagine
because
Barry or Wally like grabbing Simone's biggest fucking thing and like throwing that into the Speed Force, and he's got to like bit by bit do it.
base,
That'd be
base
cool.
Wally, and then yeah.
Seriously, I'm gonna show you a comic script I saw on Twitter once, Bang. I think you'll like it a lot. It's like a
Alright.
GLU. Yeah, I'll show it
Mhm.
to you later. It's really good.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. I actually just flipped the script. I think Kyle wins now because there's a scan I have right here with me that says, and I quote, "Asian movies can never kill me. I love them too much." Simon was in a movie, so sorry, Simon, you're kind of dead.
Oh fuck.
And
Yeah.
as you can see, Kyle is wearing anime battle armor and a sword, and he's also capable of making anime-inspired mechs. So, I think we might have to end the video here. Roll the credits.
All right. Sorry. Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, no, I wish that was the case, but in terms of the real
It is
discussion,
definitely closer than I originally thought. I can say that.
oh yeah, no, I actually think this is probably one of the closest matchups for DC versus non-Marvel, up there with like Constantine versus
Righto. Righto. I think
Righto,
that's how you
Righto.
say it.
Yeah, right.
And that one's from Funny
then-
Shin Megami Tensei, which ooh boy.
Constantine is a street tier, but with
Ridiculous hacks.
a lot of hacks. Woo!
Anyways, that's not related to this. Simone versus
Yeah,
Kyle. Good matchup.
So let's see. Where should we start first? Should we start with
I
like?
think start. What are you giving Kyle would be a good start because there's multiple things
alright,
you can.
so-
There are definitely some weird
Yes.
things to give him.
All right, so for this one, the main version that is associated with this matchup is Kyle's White Lantern form, which he gained when he mastered the entire emotional spectrum in the New 52. It's specifically used as this form simply because it makes it a lot more fair. Like, solely Green Lantern Kyle pretty solidly loses, so... And honestly, like, I know people are like, but wait, doesn't the matchup involve, like, willpower and stuff? But, like, technically speaking... Kyle used willpower to inadvertently get more powerful and become a White Lantern, like how Simon used spiral power to constantly upgrade Gurren Lagann. So the themes are still there even when you use White Lantern. And I know another thing that will be brought up is like, but White Lantern isn't standard. And technically, yes, that's true, but like, it's a hard comparison, but like, Archie Sonic isn't really canon technically to Game Sonic, but it's a different version of him. So I guess what I'm saying is like, this is a specific version of Kyle that is mostly pitted against Simon based on like fairness and debate as well. Because White Lantern Kyle is actually really, really versatile given that he hasn't really appeared for that long. He lost the White Lantern in, I believe, what was the issue? Green Lantern New Guardians issue 40, I believe.
Oh god, it's got the issues.
Where, yeah,
Now-
and Green
now
Lantern.
it's to be
No, wait, no,
Sparkle.
my mistake. Green Lantern Corps issue 17 in Rebirth in 2017. Kyle was trying to use the White Lantern Corps to resurrect the Blue Lantern Corps, and Dr. Manhattan was kind of behind the scenes with the whole DC cosmology and metaverse. And he disrupted the process, and Kyle from there lost the White Lantern power. So,
Well, Dr.
But we're
Manhattan's
still
a real
giving him
cock
White Lantern.
stooge.
Yeah. So yeah, White
I suppose-
Lantern. We're gonna be
I think
mostly
for what
going off of White Lantern for this, but we'll use feats from Green Lantern for like I guess upscaling slash downscaling as well. So
I think we can
Yeah.
probably, when we summarize the fight, we can probably separate Green Lantern and White Lantern in terms of how it goes.
And life.
I think that might be
equation.
fine.
yeah, like yeah, White Lantern is like pretty explicitly like way more powerful than Green Lantern. Like up there is like one of the most powerful lanterns of DC. So yeah.
And but despite us giving White Lantern, we are not going to give what was one of Bang's major win cons for Kai when we
Oh,
last
here we
discussed
go,
this
boys.
a while ago. The life equation.
The life equation. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear that, I kind of die inside because I wish it was standard. Because then I think Kyle would win.
He
but it's
definitely
not.
does from
And-
with the life.
Yeah.
equation.
So here's the deal with the life equation. Okay. So just in general background, of course, the life equation is obviously the opposite of the anti-life equation. Kyle Rayner, he went into the source wall after a fight with this guy named Relic. He gazed upon the life equation itself, and it became a part of Kyle. The life equation is basically the will of all the beings in existence, and it's understood as a mathematical equation that combines all the lights in the emotional spectrum as well. So Kyle
to
had this
to
power.
boost it, but also to not. It's math that makes you happy.
Yes, very good, Phantom.
Yeah.
And basically, the life equation is technically not standard anymore to Kyle because let's see, it was New Guardians Green Lantern 40. Shit. Oh frick, I had a brain fart. I mixed up the issues. New Guardians issue 40 in 2015 is actually when he lost the life equation. So in the DC Futures End storyline, it's revealed that 5 years later, Kyle kind of went mad and became one with the Source, and he saw the life equation. Kyle saw this future, and he wanted to undo this future. So he worked with the Guardians to basically split the life equation into portions that formed the White Lantern Corps that he used to defeat Oblivion, his basically evil manifestation or counterpart generated from Kyle's own thoughts. So he can't really use that power anymore to help him in this fight because it's not standard to the said White Lantern form. So, but I will clarify, if the life equation was hypothetically included in this, then I do think Kyle kind of would just simply overpower. So the life equation is basically, it has a few statements that explicitly call it superior to the power of the anti-life equation. And the anti-life equation has been used for attack potency reasons. Like, it was once used by Scott Free or Mr. Miracle to destroy an emanation of the source wall. And emanations of the source wall, see, this is where DC cosmology kind of gets a bit funky. So it can like just be like
Should we just
universal
include
barriers.
the image of DC cosmology, that one DC cosmology map in the video?
Yeah, Grant Morrison's map, we can do that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the source wall is a bit weird. Sometimes it can be just universal barriers. Sometimes it can encompass the entire DC multiverse, and then even those could have emanations. It's a bit weird. It gets into a lot of dimensional tiering territory that
We're gonna
sometimes
go
even
anyway.
I have trouble with.
We're gonna go into
Yeah,
dimensional
we're
tier
gonna-
anyway.
Yeah, have fun, bros. This is gonna be a wild ride. So yeah, I think with the life equation, he would win
To
because
quote
not.
someone. Anything above universal and versus debating is actually terrible.
Big,
Yeah,
big
I'm not gonna lie.
speedy.
Then
big speedy, big speedy, big
Yeah.
speedy. Yes.
yeah, and then I guess also with the life equation.
A three-person song of that and just send it to him with no context.
Yes.
I don't know Speedy that well, but sure. Then I guess another thing the life equation has is like really high tier reality warping. Like he once sent the Promethean giants back into the source wall. Oblivion has said that Kyle can just reshape reality in general to his liking, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think Phantom. Would you say that Simon, dang it, would have any like real counter towards I guess that type of reality warping? A direct counter, I mean.
To source wall level reality warping.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, no. At best, I guess you can scale him to the. I guess he broke out of the reality kind of fucking the extra dimensional labyrinth from the anti-spiral, which is probably the highest I could say. And even then, that's like limited in dimensional chain, whereas the source wall is how big again?
It can range. Oh dear, it can range from like basically universal to, outerversal, and yeah, I know that's like a weird, very weird term to just say out loud, but
I guess we have to like explain that.
yeah,
A big part of this matchup revolves around dimensional tiering. I guess I will explain that so I have something to do. So the basic logic behind dimensional tiering is that, oh god, how do I explain this in the way that doesn't just sound like I'm copying imaginary axis? With every with every anything that exists on a higher spatial dimension to you is going to be immeasurably more powerful, because in the sense that a one-dimensional line, no matter how big, will never have area, and a two-dimensional square, no matter how large, will never have volume, and it just keeps going upwards like that. The weakest thing on one-dimensional level will always have more power than the strongest thing on the dimension below it, because it exists on vectors and, like, directions that the thing below it does not. So, essentially, if you are on a dimension higher than something, spatial dimension, or spatial temporal dimension, you will be higher in power to a degree above infinite, because infinite in this regard is going to be infinite in this dimension, but you are higher than that infinity because you are on a whole other level. So essentially, dimensional tiering makes everything boring, because no matter how strong you are in one level, no matter how many hexes you have, unless you can get past the dimensional barrier, you will always lose. And it makes everything not fun, because it just matters who's got a bigger D.
Yes.
Oh my
But
gosh.
also, this one, it could actually be fun because they both rely on it. And also,
Yeah.
Alright, and I guess
With Kyle, it's a bit weird.
I guess with outerversal, generally,
with outerversal,
it's like when you're beyond dimensions. So like,
full blown, like you scale to cosmology pieces that like far surpass like the basic normal multiverses.
Infinite dimensional, I guess.
Or even above that. But yeah, for Kyle, I wouldn't scale him to anything that is inherently outer. I was just using that as an example of like how far the source wall could go in terms of where it lies on DC cosmology.
And in that case, Simone unfortunately can't counter that, because the highest Gurren Lagann gets in terms of dimensional tuning, which I'll explain later, is 10th to 11th dimensional. Which, from what I know, would be just really high into multiverse. I'm not going to say complex multi, fuck you.
Complex multi is basically just including dimensional tiering. Like multi plus is basically like the threshold where you reach infinite universes / multiverses.
Basically.
Yeah. Because I think hyperversal starts at around 12 dimensions. So.
Oh god damn it.
Seaman is directly if you cap him at only 11.
There's gonna be a lot of people upset with us for saying these terms.
Right. Hyperversal is just anything above 12 dimensions. You go up to that, eventually you'll hit high hyperversal, and it just keeps going to infinity. Once you're above infinity, you reach outerversal, and then you keep transcending that, you get high outer, and then you suck your own dick and you get boundless.
Umineko moment.
And so you're telling me the one above all was that down bad? Wow.
One above all is only like high hyperversal.
I mean, actually, Nemesis, there's actually two one above alls. There's one above all and the one above all.
Celestial and the old man. I'm just here to piss off a killer. I know he's gonna watch this at some point.
Hi, Akio.
And she's gonna be so angry when I say the one above all is only high hyperversal.
Hey,
Strunt, I called out Umineko. Be proud of me.
Hi, everyone else. You all know me.
Anyways,
So yeah, that was dimensional tiering taken care of. That is going to basically form the foundation of
Thank you, Nemesis. We're just getting started. We haven't fully taken care of it. We're about to.
Oh no, that's just setting the foundational groundwork for.
So
I guess Bang, you can begin.
So I'm gonna have to look in the blogs. I'm gonna have to look in the blogs in my computer.
I am too, because
find spatial dimension for Gurren Lagann. So I guess we can just start with the bare minimum stats for both, without funky dimensional
Right.
tuning. Is that fine with you, Nemesis?
Sure, this is your show, essentially.
All right.
Yeah, I took over your YouTube channel. It's my show now. Let's
right.
do this.
So,
Indeed.
for Simone, everything below Tengen, Toppan, Gurren Lagann is not going to matter because, simply put, they don't reach any levels of Universal. But I guess for fodder feats, the highest that Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann gets is like... I'm kind of iffy on the calc because it's done weird, but like I guess like multi-galaxy, which is like kind of weird. It's from that one feat where he summons like missiles across all of space-time. I haven't checked the calc yet. It's kind of weird, but I would say at minimum he's planet because I know some fuckers in the Arc Gurren Lagann stage could pull moons or planets. So
Imagine being called Galaxy, like having Galaxy in your name and not reaching Galaxy.
Wow.
Steven,
Oh no! Wait,
Yeah.
no, wait. Actually, no,
No
wait.
galaxy reaching here.
Wait,
Only
wait,
galaxy chucking.
Wait, no, wait. Galaxy Gurren Lagann outright said like after defeat, they outright say it's like, oh shit, the amount of energy, the amount of spiral power in our system is almost like a galaxy being born. So no, never mind. Galaxy Gurren Lagann is actually
You're gonna have
galaxy.
to provide
Yeah,
scans.
hey, I
won't
actually
you?
remember that.
Spiral power is weird. It's basically like, I think the fucking scientist dudes explain best where it's like spiral power is like the living force of all living beings. You can correct me on that, Bing. It's been a while. I mainly just watched the finales because it's so hype. I think they
Yeah.
said like spiral power is like the main willpower of every living being.
Right, I've got to
Interesting.
make a thumbnail for this. Go do you?
All right. Anyways,
All
so Tengen, Toppan, Gurren Lagann is where it gets interesting. So at minimum, I would say that Tengen, Toppan, Gurren Lagann is universal because, first of all, the anti-spiral flat out made its own universe that they were fighting in, which has multiple stars, galaxies, the whole shebang. It's flat out called a universe, I believe, at one point. The anti-spiral's homeworld. So that's at minimum universal plus for Simone the Digger. To be fair, anti-spiral was suppressing itself, but when they were amped by more spiral power in the anime, anti-spiral just stopped holding back, and it was still able to hold its own to an extent. Now technically the movies you can argue are like in a bit of a weird state, but nothing sane or non-canon. So Super Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann. It is bigger than the entire universe by a lot. At least 10 times. I calculated multiple times.
Yeah, wasn't there like a calculation that like it weighed a lot more as well?
Yeah,
Like, somewhere in the octillions.
Yeah. So, you can share the calc, but at some point, Nemesis. But basically, for the basis of my calculation, let me get it.
Is it inflated?
Hold on. Sure, why not? Give me a bit. Okay. So.
3 days later.
Fuck. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna look for it. Bang, you can start taking the minimum for DC Herald stats.
All right, here we go. Been waiting for this moment.
Did you just call White Lantern a herald?
It's always a good day. Yeah, Nemesis. What the heck? It's clearly Skyfather, or Cloud Mother,
Just call
whatever you want to call it.
Phantom Nemesis?
Wait, I did? Oh crap, I did. Frick. Forget I said that, everyone. I actually didn't. That was not real. Okay, so for Kyle's stats, I think what I'm gonna do is start with like Green Lantern stuff to set the bar, and then move on to White Lantern feats as well. So for Green Lantern Kyle, I think it's pretty given at this point that most heralds are in the universal to multiversal range, and Kyle is no exception. He's been a member of the Justice League for a long time. He's fought Wonder Woman. He's fought Superman. He's fought like any Justice League heavy hitter you can think of. I guess one feat to help solidify this, he does have a standalone feat where he contains the Big Bang destruction of Imperiex. Imperiex at the time, he was empowered by a metric ton of galaxies of energy stored inside him. Kyle was able to shield himself from the blast and hold it off long enough. He's also made his constructs as well can amplify his overall AP. In Blackest Night, he made a bullet construct that he gave to a Yellow Lantern Hermit Crab to snipe the Anti-Monitor in the forehead. And mind you, Blackest Night Anti-Monitor is significantly weaker than Crisis on Infinite Earth's Anti-Monitor, since he was fresh out of the Black Lantern Central Power Battery at the time, and at most he was able to just slightly overpower Necron. So, but yeah, still other than that,
no infinite universes with infinite timelines for Green Lantern Kyle yet, but it's still worth noting at least that he did snipe Anti-Monitor.
Yes, sir. The Anti-Monitor. I love that guy.
He does have his own Gurren Lagann matchup, but it's a lot less debatable.
Unfortunately.
Okay, yeah. Wait, you're talking about Anti-Monitor versus Anti-Spiral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still cool.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't really get that.
They have the word anti in their names.
They're big boys.
Is massively stupid, which is why I prefer Anti-Monitor versus the Chaos King. I'm sorry, but Chaos King versus Scarlet King is...
Yeah, because Scarlet King can go.
Alright,
Scarlet King can fight the Crimson King.
Alright, and so for Kyle, he should be pretty comparable to the other Lanterns, namely Hal Jordan. And the Dream of the Endless actually told Kyle Rayner sometime in post-Crisis that as a Green Lantern, he will eventually surpass Hal Jordan. Hal at the time was technically speaking dead because of Parallax Hal Jordan, so he was gonna surpass him. He scales to Hal's feats like fighting and amped Chadley, should I say, Dr. Polaris, while he was amped on the entire magnetic forces of the universe, which hold the universe together. Hal at his peak was able to one-shot the Guardian Corona, who had the power of 7 of the emotional entities that represent the 7 minds of the multiverse, and being able to consistently damage people like Mongold II, an enemy of pre-Crisis Superman. So, yeah, Green Lantern Kyle should be pretty given that he is a Herald, like, by default. I don't really know, like, we're past the point where Solar System Heralds are the thing.
Wow.
So...
I want to say that actually it is funny how they say that shaking the universe for DC is actually solar system, but by DC size it should be galaxy. Just gonna point that out.
All right. So then,
wait.
When we get to White,
hold on. I have a question. How impressive is Mogo's feat of lighting up the universe with DC universe size in mind?
I think someone calculated as solar system, but I might be lowballed.
Yeah, there was a solar system calc where at the time no one really took into account the 150 trillion light years feet. So that would probably be higher. Wait, Phantom, didn't you send me like another calc for it? Like when I brought it up in the DVD channel?
I don't remember.
I remember someone sending it to me, but yeah, I think it got higher.
Yeah. It's kind of like a bit feat compared to just literally destroying a universal amount. Oh, and I guess based on if you want to go the weird way of volume scaling, DC Universe is 100 trillion light years in radius. Compared to a sphere and then compared to our own universe, it'd be like one DC universe in terms of volume is like 10 billion times our own. It's a debatable method. Your millage may vary, but at minimum, that would just basically mean that at bare minimum, Kyle just scales to one DC universe at minimum. But as we'll delve into further, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then some other feats that Kyle actually has a lot of really cool feats as a Green Lantern. For instance, he defeated Amazo 2000 and Amazo from the future, who had the combined powers of the Justice Society of America, the Justice League, the Flash family, the Wonder Woman family, the Superman family, the Marvel family, and the Teen Titans. And he was able to defeat it. And I kid you not, like, it showed scans of the scientists just juicing up Amazo 2000 with all their powers, and generally speaking, you can scale Kyle to a lot of the other feats that other DC Heralds have. For example, you got stuff like Shazam and Lobo shaking the cosmos in their fight, Wonder Woman going all out on pre-Crisis Martian Manhunter, physically equal to pre-Crisis Superman, Barry Allen running fast enough to send the space-time continuum into straight-up oblivion simply by running. And there's also been times when Kyle was able to hurt Parallax Hal Jordan with energy blasts or constructs. So generally speaking, you can slide Kyle in like a decent high spot, Herald-wise. Because overall, he just has a lot of feats to pull from.
We'll explain how strong Parallax is soon.
Mm-hmm. And then once we get to White Lantern, the power boost just gets significantly higher. So you can also scale White Lantern Kyle to the much higher end Lantern feats. You've got stuff like Necron harming the life entity that
Oh, actually,
simultaneously.
speaking of which, I might as well just put this out there. Highest
Wow.
I'd be comfortable giving Kyle is multi plus because you can correct me on this, Bang. Wasn't there a scan one time where Kyle tried entering the bleed and he outright said, "Get me out of here! It's gonna fucking kill me, Lamau."
That would be correct, but there should be like low complex multi leeway that I don't think requires the
I'm
bleed
saying for
per se
base
to get
Kyle
to.
specifically. For base Kyle specifically, White Lantern, yeah, sure.
Oh.
But I'm talking base Kyle specifically. Like,
Oh, base Kyle.
I think that was like a
Yeah,
base
that
Kyle
makes sense.
thing. Like base Kyle, I
Mhm.
said like I can't be in the bleed for too long. It's gonna fucking kill me.
That would be correct. So, I guess for the White Lantern Kyle, you could scale him to various feats such as Necron harming the life entity that simultaneously harmed every single living being in existence. The Spectre once expressed, Christmas Fallon Spectre, might I add, expressed being afraid of Parallax Al Jordan and the Butcher, the Rage entity's power. And the Guardians of the Universe once compared Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern, to the power of the Parallax entity. And also Voltham, the First Lantern, being able to casually remake the universe. So Kyle and White Lantern should scale to a lot of stuff like that. And then another thing to rope this all together is Voltham telling Kyle that he is a genuine threat to the Guardians of the Universe. The Guardians are pretty powerful at their peak. It's been said by, I think the names of the gods, like the Lords of the House of Tuath Down. They said that they said that the Guardians, had the peak power to destroy every universe in the entire DC universe, which, as we all know, is infinite. So that should set the bar.
It's actually technically more than infinite multiverses because DC runs on this theory that every action in every universe creates another timeline.
Yeah, it's
So technically, it's
multiverse
not
theory.
just infinite multiverses; it's basically infinite multiverses with potentially infinite timelines too.
that are also growing infinitely.
Yeah. There's a scan in the story where Alan Scott
on
obtains
Infinity.
like the multiversal green. The scan there that says that like every decision spawns an entirely new reality. So by that alone, White.
If there's infinite universes, that means there are infinite decisions being made at any individual point in time, meaning every Planck instance there is a new infinity created.
DC is stupid.
That's just
like
multiverse theory
DC.
for you.
I love DC, even when people
Hello, DC.
grab it by the throat. And then, so that should cover Kyle's general stats. There's a lot of other stuff you could add for his attack potency. Like, he has a lot of feats via constructs, but we're not going to just. Where should we get to next,
I'm
bro?
assuming this will be. I found the calc and I found all my other stuff. So,
No one ever say Phantom comes prepared.
yeah. So a guidebook that was translated. I'll leave the links probably in the description. I don't know. Basically, it said when comparing the first Gurren Lagann and Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann, Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann is about 10 to the 25th times larger than Gurren Lagann. It could be said that this size is truly unimaginable. Now, Gurren Lagann, I haven't pixel scaled its size yet, but I decided to be like conservative enough. Say it's like 5 meters. And comparing that to Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann, which is basically the mask of Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, and then pixel scaling its size, Super Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann is about a few, not 2 times bigger, but it's roughly like over 1 times bigger than the diameter of our observable universe, which is 93 billion light years. And then comparing its volume, I got about 7.52 to the 79th meters cubed. 7.5 E 79 meters cubed. I'm too lazy to convert that to a number, but it is very
That
big.
is a number.
Yeah, and even assuming Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, it is worth noting that is technically less. That has less volume than our universe, and certainly less volume than DC's universe. But the thing is, our universe is mostly empty. I believe Google. I'm gonna look this up on Google, but I remember a discussion. Give me a bit. It was like over 99% of the universe is empty space. And although our universe has more volume, its mass is about 3 to the 10 to the 50, 3 times 10 to the 52 kilograms. So, and as we saw in the fight, Super Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann is made of matter to an extent. So even assuming it's as dense as air, Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is 3 septillion times heavier than our own observable universe.
Lord have
Wow.
mercy.
So Kyle still just one shots without dimensional tearing.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about drill?
It is worth knowing that I guess you're joking, but even without that, I still, I guess to say, like, if we compare them to just finite universes, Kyle's gonna have a hard time piercing that size, because even though DC's universe has more volume, it's not as heavy. So even if they destroy all the matter, it's not as impressive as, like, it's gonna be hard to pierce through it. And I want to remind you that Simone is swinging a drill that is 10 times bigger than Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, which weighs already 17 times heavier than our own universe, that is drilling into Kyle's heart through a sharp point that is durable on all sides at MFTL plus speeds. So, episode 25 of Gurren Lagann. Simone was sent into the Anti-Spiral's multi-dimensional labyrinth, which multiple guidebooks have confirmed is essentially a realm of infinite possibilities, infinite universes constantly expanding. And Simone managed to absorb all of it to break out. And that is essentially what I believe Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is made of. So basically, if we put them between finite universes and below dimensional tiering, they're both going to be around infinite universes level. But the thing is, I would probably argue at that point it comes down to their other advantages besides AP, because it's going to be roughly even. In which case, what hacks does Kyle have?
What hacks does Kyle have? Alright, let's get into this. Oh dear. So for Green Lantern and White Lantern, they have all the very, I guess, interchangeable hacks. Like, you have construct making, you have force fields, you got energy manipulation, energy absorption, you have the ring's ability to heal, go intangible, teleport, open wormholes. You can use, like, electromagnetic scaling to tell him, like, what kind of technology is this. He can use it to, like, scan for life. He can use it to track other people with his ring or communicate with other Lantern Corps. He has a universal translator that can just translate foreign languages. Some of these, like, are just background information about the Green Lantern ring. Like, obviously, universal translator is not going to help when Simon is speaking Japanese. Galactic Encyclopedia. He's got environmental playback. He also has, and honestly, this probably won't really help much, but I just want to mention it. He has this very amazing reality warping feat in a story with Anarchy, a Batman villain, where he changes the length of a plank length from 10 to the negative 33rd centimeters to just a simple centimeter. It was honestly amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It does nothing, but it's so fucking cool and stupid.
No, and then, but the main hacks that Kyle has that transition to his White Lantern form is the emotional spectrum manipulation. During the New 52, Kyle, when Ganthid gave him the ring, he also discovered that he could manipulate the other emotional spectrums, and the Guardians had never seen anything like that in their life. So he can command every shade of the emotional spectrum, which includes rage, avarice or greed, fear, willpower, hope, compassion, and love. Not life and death, though. Those are out. So he can contact and message people from other's corpse. He was able to master a good chunk of these all at once. He was already making constructs by the time he did it, and once he mastered love in his heart, he was able to tap into the White Lantern Corps abilities. So I'll get back to more emotional spectrum manipulation hacks, because that basically means there's a very wide array of lantern hacks from the other Lantern Corps. So let's get into some of the more specific hacks. So the first one is, like, the ability to reality warp or manipulate life. Like, generally speaking, he can use it to, like, I guess, enhance life. Like, like he has scans where he's like reviving dead planets or dead crops. He was able to manipulate life itself so that source wall travel, like he could that someone could travel into the source wall and back without being killed. He can tap into like the life of and memories of dead races and stuff like that. He also has much more enhanced healing abilities and technically potential resurrection. There was a scan that implied Kyle couldn't bring people back from the dead, but he was able to, with help from the Guardians, bring back Hal Jordan when he was killed against Parallax Sinestro. They used his ring as a focus point to bring him back from the Emerald Space. He can casually heal his wounds, and it was implied that he was going to resurrect the Blue Lantern Corps until Dr. Manhattan interfered, like I said. And one, not really specific hacks, but I guess something that's a part of the White Lantern abilities is he's connected to all of life. In Blackest Night, Hal mentions that quote, "Because we're all connected, we're all alive. Every living thing in the universe is dying." And Star Sapphire asks him like, "Why is it that when Necron struck the entity that we're in pain?" It's basically Kyle is also connected to all of life itself. One other unique ability he has is an ability called clairvoyance. Basically, he can gain direct visual information without physical means. Like you use it to view a bunch of different Lantern Corps, see how they're doing. Now back to the emotional spectrum manipulation. So I'm gonna go by each emotion, if you will, and tell you what general, I guess, hacks they have. So first one is rage. Rage hacks are somewhat the same as normal lantern hacks. The most standout hacks they have are like corruption, like, but this is more or less if you give someone a ring, it will corrupt them. And corruption has been removed before by willpower and hope, but he can use the energies to corrupt someone. He can also use it to use rage telepathy. He can and the main one is rage empowerment, where he can like use someone else's rage to make them substantially more stronger. Um, and he also has like napalm breath or napalm magic, which is like a weird high concentrated mix of like acid and napalm that just burns victims. The orange lantern hacks are much more attuned to Larfleeze, but Kyle should be able to do this as well. He can make construct armies or like constructs of the dead that he kills by extracting their soul and DNA and turning them into like his own personal constructs. Um, Other than that, uh, that's only the main hacks for that one. Besides standard lantern abilities, for the Sinestro Corpse abilities or the fear abilities, he can use fear empowerment. He can instill fear into others by leaving like illusions or nightmares of someone's worst fears and bringing them to life. Yeah, he can use that to empower him. He can actually project himself, etc. Now for willpower, we've already gone over like the main Green Lantern abilities and stuff. So I guess for this one, you can go over a lot of Kyle's, I guess, willpower feats. So probably some of his best feats include. Let's see. Let's look at my list here. Let's. All right. So with willpower, I guess this is where you get into a lot of Kyle's mental resistances. Now, I'm not sure if Simon has any mind hacks I'm aware of, but as far as I know, he shouldn't. But still. So, a few feats actually, that Kyle can use with willpower is being able to will away the effects of the anti-life equation. And the anti-life equation, mind you, has affected minds on a universal scale. He's broken out of mind control from people like Simon, classic Titans villain, control over Queen Bee's mental control, parallax entities, mental control from the controllers. So, and here's one scan: a Yellow Lantern called with mind control powers was outright terrified of Kyle's willpower and called it unsettling. And this next feat is him being able to view hyperdimensional data, something that normally speaking would overwhelm your senses. Uh, Now for Blue Lantern hacks, this is probably where it gets the most like useful in my opinion. So Blue Lanterns have a lot of unique hacks with hope. One of them is hope supplementing. They can take the hope of others. Like, uh, I guess an example, Saint Walker was able to use the hope of an entire dying planet, and basically just so he basically like swallowed a supernova and like reversed it entirely and like saved a planet from it. He can use hope to heal others, and he also has energy charging. He can use hope to amplify someone's ring charge by about an extra 100%. He's had multiple instances where he has charged other Green Lanterns to 200% and even has capped at 300% all the way up to 325%. So inadvertently, he can charge himself up since he also has Green Lantern powers, and he can just charge the percent, and the more percent you have, obviously, the stronger you're going to be. He can drain energy with it. Let's see, he can show hope illusions. He has a weird form of precognition. Actually, no, wait, that's not really standard, I guess, to his ability. Like, he was able to just see a vision of his family in the afterlife, reassuring him that they're going to reunite. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. So, and then when you move on to compassion, for compassion, it's also technically useful, but in a redundant kind of way. The main ability for an Indigo Lantern is to emulate other Lantern Corps lights, like the ability to emulate the other Lantern Corps energies, which Indigo used to, I guess, counteract the Black Lantern's central power battery. Also, teleportation is another unique ability, like teleporting vast distances across, like, I guess, universes and such, like teleporting from different space sectors. And then a unique ability. This is a bit hyper specific, but I want to mention it anyways. Indigo Lanterns have a unique ability called Discern Motivation. It allows them to heal someone of their wounds, and it can also bear them of any pain or horrific thing or guilt they have done in their life, and they essentially just heal those aspects of it. Now, the final one, Love. Love has a lot of hacks, actually. Nemesis Phantom, are you guys there? I'm sorry, I've been going a long time.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm just trying to listen and trying to find my stuff for when we get to the inevitable dimensional tiering.
Thank goodness. So for Love hacks, the main ability for them is crystallization, a more unique ability that allows them to crystallize someone in like a huge crystal that is used as like a mirror that like can conduct hallucinations onto people of like their greatest loves. It's been strong enough to restrain people like Lobo and such, and basically, yeah, it like encases them in suspended.
Lobo was a fucking lantern, and he shot someone with like a dick thing or whatever. Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah,
base
crystallization.
Base Lobo.
It puts them in suspended animation basically. And then some other abilities are also healing and resurrection. True Love Sight. I don't really think Kyle will be using stuff like this in the battlefield, like, unless he's attracted to Simon, because, you know.
I mean, if Simon takes off the shirt, I think it's GG's then.
And that's not. But yeah, he has abilities like True Love Sight, which can sense like a glow of love within themselves or within other people. He can use Love Attunement to track someone down. He has Mind Alteration with love hacks that can reach into someone's mind or heart to fill them with the power of love. And other than that, those should be, I guess, the main hacks in terms of emotional spectrum manipulation. So, in terms of how this goes hand in hand with Simon, so obviously,
I just say something. Wait, all right. So Kyle has time manipulation, right? He can go back in time.
Kyle has never demonstrated time manipulation as far as I know.
Can he? Because
he should theoretically be able to.
Okay. Because
yeah,
the best part is that Kyle can't even put a fucking time hub because Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann has these probability missiles which can literally attack you at any point in space and time.
Hmm. Yeah, like,
so literally, my biggest hope for the episode is that Kyle just goes time, and goes back in time. But then Simon is like, let's controls in the past and future all at once, and those missiles just take Kyle back into the fight. That would be so base, and I love it.
That'd be amazing. And then, okay, so with all those hacks in mind, and along with all the other hacks mentioned,
I would just DM me us.
So So I guess we can go over them one by one. So for Red Lantern hacks, I can't really see, I guess, corruption fully overpowering Simon if he tried that, because I'm fairly certain like Simon has overpowered like in the anime, he's overpowered, I guess, far worse than like being corrupted into being just flat out mad. Like,
Kind of
let's
just
see.
broke out of something that was supposed to make him depressed, I think. Nah,
Yeah, like
just use the first arc where he broke out of his best friend dying, TBH, Resistance to Corruption Hacks by Versspell Wiki.
true. So for the Orange Lantern hacks, for those ones, yeah, those ones won't really work other than I guess adding more firepower. Like,
Orange Lantern just basically makes more constructs, right?
yeah, but Kyle hasn't really shown it the way Larfleeze has, but it's implied that he can do it. But
That'd
he
be
can't
definitely
really,
good if Simone could just step on them.
yeah. And then for
stepped in loser.
so for Yellow Lantern hacks, those I think wouldn't work either technically because I wouldn't say Simon's obviously like fearless, but like I'm pretty sure by the time the series has ended, like he's much more, I guess, used to.
He's seen
I guess-
some shit. He's seen some shit.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound like, yeah, like I'm pretty sure like fear
It
manipulation
could work,
won't
but
really.
also, he's seen some shit. He's powered through a lot of shit through sheer willpower. He might be fine, but I guess we can put in the debatable if it'll work thing.
And then for Green Lantern hacks, like, see for those ones, since there's a lot more of them, it's hard to tell which ones I guess are. Ironically, like the ones mentioned that aren't like I guess, what do I call it, like normal abilities, like the ones that aren't considered normal. Those ones I don't think would really have any effect on Simon as a whole, because you have stuff like a very hyper specific reality warping feat. You've got like healing will obviously be useful, but he has so much better healing methods. Teleportation, I guess, delays the inevitable. The electromagnetic scanning isn't really like something that would turn the tide because like he would probably use it to detect like the thing is powered by spiral energy. So, but that wouldn't really like end the fight, of course. And then the other feats are just very like Green Lantern like technical abilities like communication or environmental playback. So and then in terms of Blue Lantern
Which
stuff,
lantern has BFR for the record?
say that again.
Does any lantern have BFR?
Uh, Technically speaking, no. I mean, hypothetically, they can like just send someone through a dimensional portal, but Simon scales way beyond that type of range. Technically
It's not even
speaking,
that, like, even then, he literally has, like, I think the Archer in Lagan literally just has a thing that will let him teleport back. It literally transport him to a separate dimension, the anti-spiral.
I wouldn't call it BFR per se, but it's worth noting that like Green Lantern power batteries, like it's been stated that they're stored in like pocket dimensions or spatial rifts when like they're not using them. Can he use it on people? That is kind of up in the air because we've never really seen that used before. Then for Blue Lantern stuff, this is where it gets useful actually. I would argue that like because of the ability to like charge energy, he can charge himself. So theoretically speaking, the more willpower there is, the more he could obviously just amp himself up. And Kyle's willpower feats I think could probably, it sounds a bit weird, I know, but Kyle's like I guess feats of willpower are like they're pretty much, it's just the stuff he's done is through sheer willpower and like the things he can do with it. Like he was able to like reform his own Green Lantern ring out of sheer willpower. So you can technically argue that he can just amp himself up way beyond 200%. And then for the Indigo hacks, they're very redundant. Like other light emulation, he basically already has that. So that's kind of just a moot ability. And teleportation, he already had that as a Green Lantern, but I guess you can argue that the Indigos are just much better. And then for love, you have stuff like, I don't really think love attunement will be useful, nor true love sight, because I wouldn't say like Kyle would use that in the sense that he thinks Simon is a bad guy. I guess obviously they'd be fighting, but I don't think love would be used in that sense to try to kill him. But now there is also mind alteration, which I guess could work, but that isn't like a huge advantage in my opinion. So, uh, of all the hacks, the Blue Lantern hacks are probably the most useful.
All right. Oh yeah, I forgot to tackle speed. DC heroes have multiple feats ranging on the quintillions to sextillions range. Simone is weird because you can argue, haha, funny. He's above dimensions. That means he's immeasurable. No, I don't really buy that logic. That just because you're a higher dimension doesn't necessarily mean you're like infinite in speed or immeasurable.
Mm-hmm.
So with calcs, Simone is actually like quintillions times the speed of light. The anti-spiral's death explosion, which you could maybe argue skills like sextillions times the speed of light, but also I find that pretty iffy. At that point, it would basically be.
Well, I think for Kyle, so for Green Lantern, Kyle is obviously just the massively faster than light range. I'm pretty sure you can hypothetically scale him to Captain Adam's nanosecond universe feed, where he recreates the universe in the nanosecond.
At the minimum, sextillions, blah blah blah. Because
I believe it got to about in the non-nillion range.
Yeah, but
around
also
there.
Saying nanoseconds aren't always literal. So yeah.
That is
either way,
true,
if I'm
but
gonna scale Simone to like a death explosion, I'm fine with scaling Kyle to like non-alien. So no matter what, Kyle has a consistent speed advantage. Simone does have immeasurable attack speed with the probability missiles because I do think the guidebooks just flat out make it immeasurable, but there's no real way to scale Simone to that in terms of combat speed and reaction speeds. So my stance is basically he has quintillions, possibly sextillions combat and reaction speeds with immeasurable attack speed with the probability missiles.
And then for White Lantern Kyle, I think you can actually make decent leeway arguments that actually get him to immeasurable. So there's a few feats that I guess could kind of allude to this. So some of the high tier DC heralds have immeasurable feats in my opinion, and White Lantern Kyle I guess wouldn't upscale per se, but you can compare him to them at least. So Green Lantern Kyle, there was a scan I believe where it was said that he was the fastest of the Green Lanterns. He's been shown to be capable of keeping up with Wally West. Obviously he wouldn't scale to a full powered Wally, but it's certainly a decent comparison. Now in terms of other immeasurable feats, you have the argument or possibility of feats like Wonder Woman hitting Zoom while he's in stop time. You have stuff like Shazam traveling fast enough to travel to the Rock of Eternity, which is beyond space and time itself. And Shazam traveling through entire atoms to go back to the Big Bang through sheer speed. And Superman as well has a plethora of immeasurable speeds that unfortunately I don't have on with me. But those feats right there are just a few, I guess, comparisons that can make it a possibility.
Yeah. Kyle's going to have a speed advantage, but I do think the probability missiles are more likely to hit him. Which,
I guess the question is like,
how you have the AP will either work or not work.
All right. Aside from the probability missiles and such, what are other of C1's hacks, Phantom? If you could.
Which one? We didn't discuss this.
What are Simone's hacks, Gibbon?
Simone's hacks? Oh, okay. I know he has one where it's like probability alteration that he used against the anti-spiral, where it's kind of weird. Where like basically early on in episode 25, Simone basically put up a barrier that was like it negated almost every attack. But then the Grand Zibos, the Blabuda, these weird statue things with faces basically altered probability to their favor and made so that the attacks were hitting them, even though the mech was rendering strain that were not being hit. Simone kind of did that against the anti-spiral too. So basically, if Simone even if Kyle blocks like a missile, it could more than likely still hit him and damage him. That's pretty much the main basic hacks. I guess he can break out. That's pretty much. I guess he can absorb. He has some absorption shit, but it's mostly like most we've seen is universes, so like bleh.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
I
believe
he can escape BFR to an extent.
All right, there was one that I technically wanted to discuss. I wouldn't call it hacks per se, but I guess the physiology of like Gurren Lagann. So there's arguments floating around about how the mech has abstract existence. We've been talking about this back and forth a lot, and the argument behind abstract existence. And by the way, I guess I should explain what abstract existence is. Basically, actually, how do you explain? I guess in the context of how Gurren Lagann has it. So abstract existence is basically like you embody like a concept or a thought or something, and you're able to just, I guess, be immortal as a result of it. Like it's a weird way of, I guess, being able to not be killed. Like if you exist as a certain way, you have, I guess, effects that. Oh jeez, I'm so bad at this. That effects that allow you to like be able to regenerate or stay living.
I'm eating popcorn.
In Simon's case, uh, he has abstract existence that basically he exists purely as an abstraction. Like he doesn't have like a physical or corporeal form, and that you need to be able to directly have the ability to affect abstracts. Now there are abstracts in DC. The emotional entities are the abstracts, but they don't have the same type of abstraction as. Well, actually, let me. I guess let me double down. Phantom, what do you think about the abstract existence arguments for Gurren Lagann? Because we've been talking about this a lot,
I think
and
I think I get it, but also it's very clearly has physical matter. Like when it falls down, like when it falls down the anti-spirals like on like bigger galaxy, it literally splashes up like a kind of like dust, cosmic dust in a way. So it definitely very much has matter. Like the guidebook says that like it's made of energy, but also like the show kind of contradicts that.
I mean, being
It's
made
super
of
weird.
energy, like, can't that like?
It's super weird. It's super weird. But more
mean-
often than not, I would say that it does have physical matter, and that kind of debunks the notion that it's abstract in nature.
Yeah, and like one being made of energy, like, what's his face? Pyron from Darkstalkers, right? He's made of energy, right? Like he's one of those like just pure energy beings, or am I wrong?
I don't remember, but also I don't care about to talk about Darkstalkers now because I'm going to go on a rant about John versus Sablewolf. And
No, I was gonna make like a person like, can't you still be physical but also like be made of energy?
he is still
Like energy,
he is still
energy
he is
can be
physical in game. He is physical in game.
All right, and then I guess other arguments that I've like had my take on for abstract existence, like the Grand's Bomba, like the anti-spiral's mech, like anti-spiral. I don't think it follows suit of the same effects of like how spiral energies like manifested thoughts. Like, is there any like indication of like anti-spiral is also like thought generated stuff? Because the anti-spiral said that it was explicitly made as a mech to be on an even playing field. But like, was it also made by like manifested thoughts or no? Or was it ever specified?
Let me check the guidebooks. I think some of them address this. Hold on, I'm checking the guidebook right now.
And then other arguments that
Alright.
are against it are like, oh,
Hold on.
other arguments against it would be like the arguments that like the pilots of Gurren Lagann would like, I guess, fall right through into just space. Like, and I guess
I found basically someone translated basically the second last line in this scan. I'll send it to Nemesis soon. It basically says that it was materialized by the anti-spiral, as in like matter in a way.
then that would also kind of mean that like it's not entirely non-corporeal. Like if it can be like physically hurt. So I'm pretty sure I'm not exactly entirely sold on like it being an abstract in existence. Because the argument of that being used is like because of his abstract existence, like Kyle can't like affect it or hurt it at all. But I don't know if I really agree with that at all. So, and then I guess we can get into the bits about, I guess, what they can use against each other, or like their win cons, or how they can kill each other as well. So for Kyle, obviously he has the speed advantage. I would say, I guess experience. I wouldn't say it's like minor, but like I wouldn't say it's
how long
like
has Kyle been a
huge.
Lancer? Simone has been fighting for like he has combat experience, but it's mostly like 7 years ish. If we assume he's fighting.
Kyle is, if you count like post crisis, like entirely, Kyle has been a Lantern for well more than 7 years. Like he's been from like the Teen Titans to the Justice League. Like he's pretty experienced and like he's been with like the Green Lantern Corps and fighting like huge threats like Krona or Mandrake. So
I guess
I would
another
say
thing
he
is
probably,
that Kyle also has more experience fighting against cosmic level entities.
yeah, like
Like you can
Kyle's more, I
argue,
guess,
like you can
experienced in
argue,
general.
Simone probably fought better cosmic level entities, but Kyle has seen more of that. It's pretty much a daily
Yeah, like
basis.
he's probably used to it as well. So yeah, that's probably a bit
I'm pretty sure if
more
he
like.
sees like the giant mech, he's just gonna go, "Oh, that's a bit surprising, but whatever."
He's like, oh, all right, let's do this. So I guess the next thing is like, some of the lantern hacks besides blue really do much. I guess you can look at the basic Green Lantern abilities like energy manipulation, I guess, and the constructs as well are probably decent counters to like spiral energy in terms of like willpower and stuff.
But also to be fair, Simone is also a living battery of spiral energy.
For Kyle in Kyle's corner, the way his like willpower can work, like I said before, he was able to just reform his own ring just out of sheer willpower, and he more or less uses it against mental threats. But he actually has a weird contingency sort of for I guess losing power or running low on energy. In post crisis, he carried with him a power battery fragment that actually allowed him to act as a full blown Green Lantern power battery or source of energy once he took it out. So I guess in terms of willpower, Kyle should be covered in terms of being able to replenish it. That and Blue Lantern energy charging just makes it so that way like he doesn't even need a battery. Then you can also take into account that Larfleeze is basically the only physical orange lantern, and he has never like actually needed an orange battery. He's always been described as literally a living, walking battery, like having his cells composed of orange light energy. So you can technically argue that Kyle as well doesn't really have that, so he wouldn't really need a
Biffy
battery per
posted a new
se.
video.
Hmm?
Biffy posted a new video. That's cool.
Yeah. Let's see what else is there.
Oh yeah, casual reminder: if you ask, Nemesis and Biff Fleet are both equally good, and they should not be compared to each other because they are good friends.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fighting a death battle. How about that? I'm just kidding.
I know that annoys you, Nemesis, so I just want to get that out of the way. Please stop comparing them; they are good friends.
Yes. Thank
Mm-hmm. All right, and then I guess the big one is like, who is overall, I guess, stronger with Dimensional Two?
Oh
This is
god.
probably the most. This is probably the most touchiest of the subjects.
Go through DC first because Gurren Lagann is rather simpler, but I want to go through the because DC has different interpretations of how the bleed works.
Very, very different interpretations. I mean, if you're referring to, I mean, even if you argued Kyle was like low Skyfather or in that regard, like I don't think he would really scale up to the bleed, because I think the highest scaling he gets is by virtue of the Guardians of the Universe, and they kind of cap out at multi plus as far as I know. They have feats like obviously it's showing the whole multiverse, ripping apart Superboy Prime atom by atom. Among
Wait,
other
Superboy
things.
Prime. Oh.
Yeah. You didn't know that? Well, it was like at the time when like Superboy Prime was like, I wouldn't say struggling, but he was fighting like the teams.
Didn't
like, the
Superboy
Justice League and the
Prime one
Titans.
shot of True Form Anti-Monitor?
Wait, True Form? You mean just Anti-Monitor?
I don't know.
Yeah, he ripped him.
Like he killed True Form Darkseid. I know that at least.
He ripped apart Anti-Monitor. He got sent to the Central Black Lantern Power Battery. But okay, it's worth noting that Sinestro Corpse War Anti-Monitor is massively, massively weaker than Christ on Infinite Anti-Monitor. So I don't think you can really scale.
It's more so like because I've talked to a few friends. They probably know. You probably know what I'm talking about. But basically, I know someone that's saying like in the run with Batman Who Laughs, didn't Super Prime destroy an entire universe that was basically like True Form Anti-Monitor and True Form Darkseid were in it, and then he also proceeded to beat the shit out of Batman Who Laughs.
I haven't read that comic in a bit, but let me.
I don't blame you.
I think
Yeah.
I think I've been told now that Superboy Prime after that actually beats Marquis Death. So,
who's Marquis of Death?
Marquis
the
Death.
Marquis of Death.
He's this
He's
Marvel
a
guy
Marvel
who
character.
he uses eternity as a weapon.
Oh,
he
God.
just beats people up with
Yeah, have
eternity
fun.
as his
Have
weapon.
fun explaining that.
I've talked to Cyber, and I think Cyber already told me that if Superboy Prime got in DB, he'd be like the strongest combatant in the show.
He would be, unless his opponent was like
Probably
sentient
would
or
be.
I guess
something.
the only competition would be Infinity Gauntlet Thanos, because I guess hot take, I do think Infinity Gauntlet Thanos is stronger than True Form Darkseid.
I mean,
it just doesn't matter.
Actually, like, hold on. Nemesis,
mean-
wouldn't, like, hypothetically, with the new DC cosmology stuff, like, you and I have seen from our friends, like, wouldn't, like, Darkseid hypothetically be a contender as well?
Well, yeah, Darkseid and Thanos are like the 1 and 2, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And then
I
Superboy
guess-
Prime comes out, and then just one shots.
Alright, Let me. I think I have the right comic for the scan you're talking about Destroy Universe with. Here's the thing. I don't know if I would really scale Kyle to that per se, because obviously Superboy Prime was much stronger when he did that. Like, he was at the point.
He got stronger. He got stronger.
I mean,
I was worried because
technically
I didn't know if he got stronger, so I was actually just worried. It's like, oh shit.
Superboy
oh,
Prime hasn't
oh,
been
shit.
like a consistent level of power his entire time. Like he has fluctuated.
Yeah, like there was times when he was struggling with like the Teen Titans. Like Superman was able to barely defeat him with like help from Mogo. He got trapped in the Speed Force, trapped in the Source Wall.
And then he one shot
He's
True Form
been all over.
Darkseid.
Yeah, he kind of came back a lot more powerful in my opinion, because I think before that he outright just destroyed Black Adam in a fight. Actually, no, technically he's beaten Black Adam twice in a fight. So, but he also just
Okay, I was just
destroyed
worried.
the entire.
I just want to make sure. Did he get strong? Because if not, then I think Simone has nothing on ripping apart a guy atom by atom who one shot True Form Darkseid.
That's the weird part. The feat where he ripped apart, but also it's worth noting the Guardian. It was technically a self-destruction move from the Guardian. It was a single Guardian. He ripped him apart atom by atom, but the Guardian died in the process. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, that kind of.
Sorry for off topic. I was a bit worried. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, don't worry. But like, yeah, it's something that's hard to really scale Kyle to, because, I mean, here's the thing. It's weird, because like you're making a jump from like a feat where heralds were involved to a feat where it was just him and one really, really high character, which would be the Darkest Night, I mean. And a feat where one-shotting a universe where anti-modern Godhead Darkseid exists in, like that's probably well beyond even White Lantern Kyle's range in general. So,
right. Well, where would you say White Lantern Kyle is on the dimensional tiering standpoint?
see, it's really hard because without the life equation, you can't really say too much. Like, I guess you can't really take into account like Ori of Worlds or like Rock of Eternity. Like, Kyle at most would probably get to above like the DC multiverse and all its spatial / temporal dimensions. I don't think. Yeah, it's after you get past like the higher spatial dimensions. I'm not sure if you can really scale Kyle anywhere else, because the main like I guess his best attack potency feats come from like just being called a threat to the Guardians. And actually the weird part is the Guardians of course have scaling to like there's a huge big scaling chain between the Guardians, the entities, and like most of the high tier lanterns. The entities, which include Parallax, who possessed Parallax Al Jordan, there's a lot of arguments for like Parallax being a much higher tier character than just Herald, obviously. Like the Spectre expressed being afraid of Parallax Al Jordan, and I guess the question is like, could you scale White Lantern Kyle to Parallax Al Jordan? Because Parallax Al Jordan has a lot of, I guess, much higher feats than most people would consider.
Alright, that makes sense.
So yeah, so some feats for Parallax Al, I guess, like the events of 0 Hour, like I don't know if you know about that crisis event. 0 Hour was like it was gonna cause destruction on a scale similar to Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Is
which
that
obviously
the reason why Parallax Hal was so strong? He was causing that.
yeah. Mhm.
I'm fine with White Lantern being comparable to Parallax.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, those feats, like, Us you should also at most be like much higher into multi plus, I guess, because Infinite Earths obviously was, just Infinite Earths being completely reduced to nothingness with in short of 5 universes. So
Let's just say it's multi plus plus.
Perhaps.
Because it's technically more.
Oh, and then I guess I would say that Kyle is probably not as strong as Simon in just overall raw attack potency, even with like the amount of amps available to him via Blue Lantern stuff.
Alright, so I guess it's my time. Thanks, Cyber, for helping me link this part.
Thanks, Cyber, for doing all the work.
So, yeah, shut the fuck up. I call misogyny.
Wow.
Good.
Anyways, so Gurren Lagann's dimensional tiering is very debatable because I see some people say they're not referring to spatial brains or membranes when they mention brains. It's just like he doesn't mean spatial dimensions when he says dimensions. He's just talking about universes. And to an extent, I would agree with that because there's not really enough evidence to support dimensional tiering in the show itself. With guidebooks, it's a different story. Give me a bit. So, alright. So, the guidebook repeatedly refers to the spiral labyrinth as an extra-dimensional labyrinth that's supposed to be above the 10th and 11th dimensions. Which, I guess on its own is not enough for dimensional tiering, but it is worth knowing extra-dimensional is probably a supporting thing. And extra dimension or the 11th dimensions can be used to refer to parallel universes or just other universes on the same plane in fiction. That's honestly kind of why dimensional tiering is just fucking stupid. But one of the translations for Gurren Lagann refers to brains when talking about the dimensions, which is only used to refer to higher dimensions in M theory. I can try and find a translation for that later. In fact, one of Gurren Lagann's writers straight up says he uses the ideas behind multiverse theory and higher dimensions and tries to twist them into something interesting when writing his stories. And another translation from a Versus site, basically said the interpretation of the multiverse has advanced so rapidly in the last few decades that when we were children, it was only 4-dimensional, but now it is said to be 11th dimensional. Our job is to tell lies, so we take those theories and twist them into something interesting. So, at minimum, dimensional tiering and the 11th dimension, like membranes, did have an influence on what's on their minds while writing Gurren Lagann. So, with that information in mind, and also a few guidebooks seemingly supporting the idea of these dimensions are actually spatial dimensions, it is fair enough to say that Simone likely is indeed has dimensional tiering. And how high on that would be around 10th to 11th dimensional, because that's where the anti-spiral resides.
Alright, very good. Now, I'll admit, like, in explaining that whole thing with Kyle and dimensional tiering, I'll admit I was kind of stumped because I didn't know exactly what to say at first. So I guess I can rope it together.
Cyber, hey, can you help me a little bit?
Yeah. So for what I meant to say for Kyle, more or less, was that like Kyle, I guess, wouldn't get into spatial dimensional tiering since none of the feces scales to have really, I guess, entered that territory. Because mind you, there's a lot of statements with how many dimensions there are in DC between like the infinite multiverse and other cosmology pieces. Like you've heard like 14 spatial dimensions, 19, all the way up to 196,833. And I guess what I was more or less trying to say is that like Kyle, I guess wouldn't scale to those dimensions that are above the multiverse. Theoretically, he could scale to I guess spatial dimensions, because like there are dimensions within the DC multiverse that you could probably scale to. Like I believe there's a scan that like there are spatial dimensions that like actually let me just pull it up. So like there's a scan that says like while in a limbo between life and death, there's 5 spatial dimensions that in that same scan. Oh yeah, the scan where it says there are innumerable dimensions. Would Kyle scale to that? Probably not. Mostly because there's never really been any indication he's gotten anywhere, I guess, explicitly higher than just multi plus plus. Because the only way you could theoretically do it is, I guess, a weird just scaling chain that I'm not really comfortable with like going off of because there are arguments that like Parallax Out Jordan can like hit outer reversal tier, and I'm a little bit iffy on that as well, and like scaling Kyle to that would also be super iffy. So
Yeah. So, basically, even if we applied dimensional tiering to Kyle, hypothetically, would he be like on the lower end, like 5D?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'd probably be like about 5D, like. Oh, yeah, you're right, 5D. Like I can't see him getting past like 60 or like, or I guess I can't see him getting past like dimensional tiering outside of the multiverse.
That would only be around bleed tier.
Because like, did you say that
I
like?
guess we should address the elephant in the room about the bleed. There are some statements about it being infinite dimensional. What are your thoughts on that, Bang?
Oh dear. I'm pretty sure. So for the bleed, I agree with those statements about it being like infinite dimensional. Because like, it's been a while since we talked about this.
I'm also bringing it up because that's the biggest thing I've known people question about dimensional tiering DC is like, how strong is the bleed specifically? Like, is it 5D? Is it infinite dimensional? Who knows?
So the scan where it's called like a countless dimensional structure, I believe that scan is referring to like spatial dimensions technically. So it should be legitimate in my opinion because it's not like. How do I explain this?
I'm sorry for dropping this on you. I thought you were prepared.
I'll admit like sometimes it's been like a fat minute since I've talked about stuff like this. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the bleed should be infinite dimensional since there's a lot of statements that support it being infinite dimensional. Like there's an innumerable dimensional statement, so I'm pretty sure it should be.
But I'm assuming Kyle just scales below the bleed, around below it, somewhere around that.
I think
the bleed is above the multiverse.
I wasn't really prepared to talk about the bleed because I didn't really think Kyle would get that far into dimensional tiering. So
just to make sure, so he's below the bleed. Like the bleed is above the multiverse, right?
All
right.
Yeah, like bleed, Ori of Worlds, like they're just much more above the multiverse. Yeah, I don't really think I could scale Kyle to that, sadly.
All right. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Because we covered the most controversial topic.
Yes. Let's see. Anything else to talk about? Yeah, we covered abstract existence. We covered life equation. Yeah. Other than that, I guess. No, that should be it. Like, I'm pretty sure that like the main, I guess, debate can come from the cosmology of Gurren Lagann and Kyle's hacks in terms of how they interact with Kyle's. So for Kyle,
I guess for Gurren Lagann, I guess Nemesis, would you be fine if you could maybe link 4 blocks that I'm going to send you, and you could put in the description, I guess, because honestly, I can't explain Gurren Lagann cosmology myself. Just I hate cosmology debates so much.
I'll just make sure to drop a way to DM Cyber in the description. That sounds about.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cyber.
And then let's see. I guess another thing to bring up is like the probability missiles. Would you say that they would kill Kyle on the spot, or would they at most like just make him unable to do anything to Simon really?
Probability missiles, they're not passive. That's the thing. I think at most it means that Kyle can't just go back in time and try and hit and do that, or try and attack Simone in the past. Because Simone has a tracker that basically says, yeah, they're doing this. He's doing a fucking Schrodinger's warp, and he can attack him at any point in space and time. But I don't think they'll kill him because they didn't kill the giant face statues. I think.
Wait a minute. Did Simone fight an army of Moyais?
Possibly.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the question is,
So,
who do you
alright,
think
okay.
wins?
All right. So I guess for me, without dimensional tiering, I think Simone wins, but extremely high diff. Their AP is about similar-ish, maybe a slightly towards Simone, given how the extra dimensional labyrinth works, and that was in Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, not Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. He has the size advantage, and given how I guess mass and volume works, it's going to be really hard for Kyle to pierce through that to the body of Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Even though Simone is slower, probability missiles kind of negate that in a way, to an extent, of course. And I do think Kyle has hacks, but most of them, as Bang discussed, are not really that useful in this. And pretty much, Simone is just as strong, if not stronger. He has the size advantage, and probability manipulation kind of just pretty much guarantees Kyle's going to get hit at least once.
Mm-hmm.
With dimensional
guess...
Simone is quite literally infinitely above Kyle, so lol.
And then for me, I would also have to agree. I think Simon just edges out in a lot of categories. And I guess before I say that, I just want to just bring up like the bleed in terms of like the whole countless dimensional structure stuff. Like there is a scan about it being a pan-dimensional room with a view of like all of the universes in existence. So as far as I know, the bleed the bleed should be like infinite dimensional in terms of structure, because yeah, like the pan-dimensional room like kind of implies that like it's rotating around like spatial dimensions. I'm not sure if I'm entirely correct, but that is what I know to the extent of the bleed. Now in terms of who I think I win between Simon and Kyle, Simon probably edges out more times than not. Like for Kyle, like the speed advantage is there, but all of his ways to, I guess, get to Super Saiyan Top and Gurren Lagann and stuff, like if it comes to that, like he can't really, I guess, I wouldn't say get near it, but can't really affect it in many useful ways, because like his teleportation, dimensional travel, and even time travel as well are just flat out like negated by the probability missiles being able to just track him through like tangent time itself, and so he shouldn't really be able to get anywhere. You can make an argument that like he has intangibility, ergo he could probably phase through the mech, but I don't think. I don't think that.
Honestly,
really...
at that point, he has to fist fight Simone, and I guess Simone kind of really beat the shit out of Anti-Spiral. Just fucking went mano a mano at him.
Yeah, Super Taking Top and Gurren Lagann, like if it comes down to a fist fight, like I think Simone would just flat out overpower him in that sense. And then like I said,
I hope that's the climax. I hope it's that climax so bad.
That would be pretty cool. And then I guess for his hacks, like I said, none of them besides the Blue Lantern hacks I think really hold any like fortitude up against Simon. Like corruption won't work. Mind alteration I guess could be useful, but in the long run probably won't kill him so much as distract him. I don't see any of them really just killing him as much as they can affect him. So, and then let's see. And then yeah, like even though like abstract existence arguments I don't really agree with, like the size of Gurren Lagann, I think like being like hit with a drill that I guess big and massive with like that many ends on it. See, you can make an argument that Kyle could probably react to it, sort of, I guess, with constructs and other stuff, but the possibility, because, like, with force fields and stuff, like, there have been times when Kyle has struggled, like, with holding up force fields for long periods of time, and then I guess another argument is Kyle being able to absorb energy absorption. There was a crossover for Marvel and DC where I believe Silver Surfer like absorbed like the energy of like two universes, and like Akil told me this is canon, and I think that Kyle could potentially scale to this. So you can make a decent argument that maybe Kyle can absorb spiral energy, but I'm not sure if that would really. That's a good question. Would you think that like if he absorbed spiral energy and like refracted or reflected it back at him, like could it possibly hurt Gurren Lagann or no?
Hmm. Run that by me again. I was eating popcorn.
Okay. So if Kyle used energy absorption on spiral energy, would you say that it could have much more, I guess, hurting effect on Simon than
To an extent, yeah. I think that's fine.
in that case, like, yeah, I don't know if I'd call it like an overarching advantage though, seeing as that like Simon is just flat out stronger. It's just hard to imagine Kyle, I guess, really using any. I mean, there is a super hypothetical just thought that like maybe Kyle could make a universe construct size mech of his own, but I'm not sure that would really matter anyways because I feel like there have been times when like lanterns have struggled with like making much larger constructs. Like there was this time Dexstar was like making just and Dexstar is relatively small. He's just a little kitty cat, and he was making a huge construct for Atrocitus, and he was just exerting himself doing it the entire time. So I guess for Kyle, I'm not sure he could really just pull it off for long. So I guess the main win cons of what you come down to is Simon is stronger with overall dimensional tiering, ranging from 11 to 10D. Uh, he's much slower, but a lot harder to just kill or like outright harm for any of Kyle's stuff. None of Kyle's hacks really have an effect on him. You could probably argue he has an equal amount of, I guess, willpower or resistance. And I guess for Kyle, he's faster. Blue Lantern amplification probably can help him. Energy absorption of spiral energy is a possibility, and I guess if you compare those two, oh, I forgot to mention for Simon, obviously the probability missiles being able to just track Kyle through time or teleportation or dimensional travel. Like I just don't really see any, I guess, thorough way that Kyle could put him down or like take down for that matter. And then for Simon, obviously you've got Galaxy, Daigur, and Logon, and like the mechs. I think for the mechs, I don't think they could really kill Kyle so much as Super Tank and Top and Gurren Lagann Kyle can, or Simon can. Because at that point, it would just be Kyle being face to face with just Simon himself, who's just flat out much stronger than Kyle, in which he would probably just, I guess, overpower him. You can argue blitzing for Kyle, but I guess, but yeah, I don't know if we can really say that like it would solidly let him win because, like I said, probability manipulation missiles are just much stronger to deal with. So overall, I think that Simon probably wins in a very close fight.
Now, should we explain why you're making this video? I guess.
Oh, sure. So obviously I'm new to this, and this was like kind of a not last minute decision, but we decided to do this because I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm a Mormon, as you could call it. I was called in April to serve an LDS mission in San Antonio, Texas. Now, I guess what that means, if you aren't familiar, we go out for 2 years to like wherever you're assigned to, and you, I guess, preach our gospel or like our religion to others and try to. I'm not. Okay. I just want to say I'm not trying to like promote my religion or like enforce it or like try to like convert everyone in the comment section or anything. But the way we do it is we go out and try to tell people of our gospel and like of the atonement of Jesus Christ and stuff like that for about 2 years, which means you kind of have to leave behind a lot of personal affairs and a lot of stuff that you enjoy and just. It's a very trialing and hard experience I'm going to be in, but I made the decision to do it because all my friends are doing it as well, and I look up to them a lot, and I just think that it would be really good for me. It also acted as like a fresh start, I guess, to my life because I have graduated, so I'll be going back to college, I guess, a much different person. And I would, if Death Battle is still alive and strong, obviously, when I get back, you can definitely bet that I'll be back. So we wanted to make this video, I guess, as a send-off to me because it's a fight that I've always loved to talk about a lot, and everyone around me knows that. So we thought making this video, I guess, would be a really good way to, I guess, end it off for 2 years before I get sent off.
We're gonna miss you, man. And I like to say thank you for being a part of not only this community, you're family to us, man. We're gonna miss you.
We are.
You guys are my family too, honestly.
It's
Like
gonna suck not
all
having
of
you
you,
around.
and like, yeah, I'll admit, like,
You're the only one who can translate to me what Akila's saying. Please.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rely on Akil for fucking Marvel DC stuff now, which means I'm gonna go, hey, so who wins this really close Marvel DC fight? Well, you see now the Marvel guy, and that's gonna be it every time. So there was this time that like Hawkman got beaten by like a regular nuke, and like you could say that's an anti-feat, but he's the DC guy, so it's not. But Angel, yeah, there's this one time, I don't know, like Angel, like I don't know, he fought Nightmare, you know, and like he beat up Mephisto. So like I think that Angel would probably stomp Hawkeye. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll admit that I think a lot of people in the DVD server have been like family to me as well. Deck, JS, Cyber. Like I'm gonna miss like all of you too, Phantom. Sometimes I don't want to name like every single person ever. Like obviously there's a lot of people that I wish I could just sit here and say why I love them so much. But I'll admit, like I wouldn't say it's not for me, but it's just sometimes it's hard for me to talk about it without just feeling a little bit down. But yeah,
it's
I
okay,
think it's been
alright, yeah.
It's been like a great.
When you come back, we're gonna greet you with open arms and call you sus.
Wow, I can't wait.
The return of the Sussy Barker.
It's been an amazing experience. I do hope this happens, but please let it happen when I get back. If I miss this fight, if it happens while I'm gone, I'm gonna get back, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just cry. Like I'm gonna get back, but everyone's gonna tell me like, "Dude, you guess what? You missed out." Oh man.
You're gonna get back, people like, dude, you missed out on Kyle versus Simone, and also like 2 weeks after the episode came out, Kyle got White Lantern again and beat up Anti-Monitor.
Oh my gosh, that would be kind of funny if that happened. But yeah, I could probably see it happening within like a few years, because like it caught traction like a year or two ago, so it's relatively fresh, but at the same time, it's sparked popularity super fast. So I could definitely see it happening soon. Definitely not this season though. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do for a prediction when that episode actually gets announced. It's gonna be like,
yeah.
I may or may not have done this.
Phantom and I are on the prediction blog for Simon versus Kyle. We'll both probably be doing predictions on that as well. So
I'm absolutely
if you want to see,
but I'm
busy me too, definitely
versus Hellboy right now.
Yeah. So we're hoping that one. Well, they did plan for it to be the last one, but I was told by the members of the G1 that I could do a prediction early. So it would be a nice send-off for me to not only do a video on this, but do one last vlog as well. So I'm honestly glad that of all the matches it could be this one. Honestly, this is probably like one of the most fun fights I've ever had to discuss. Probably not on par with Sonic versus Flash, because that was like my favorite fight idea period ever since I got into debating, but this one is definitely up there.
Better than Godzilla versus Flash, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a horrible debate.
That was so.
At least I did good in this. At least I did better in the second discussion about it. I think I did much better though. I'll just say
it would have been so much worse if Singular Point had come out earlier, because like the Singular Point series basically confirms that the Godzilla multiverse works on dimensional tiers. It would have been
That's
so
fucking
much
stupid. What the shit?
Okay, this is gonna be completely irrelevant, but basically, in the series they have these things called what are they called? They have this like material, this substance, right? That they're talking about. Archetypes, that's what they're called. They're not like archetypes like a DC archetype or anything, but basically, when they're studying him, they figure out that actually they're essentially looking at the equivalent of a shadow, a tiny sliver that's dropped down from a higher dimensional tier, a higher dimension, and the way it works is because the true essence of an archetype exists in the fourth dimension, they've only got a 3-dimensional sliver of it, and it can do things like transport things through time and stuff, and essentially the 4-dimensional archetype is infinitely bigger and more powerful than the 3-dimensional sliver that we have down here. And Godzilla's made of archetypes in the series as well. And he releases Red Mist, which is made of archetypes. And
what the fuck is Godzilla? I thought it was just some guy trying to destroy Japan.
Well, I mean, Godzilla is a ancient creature, at least in the original film. He's an ancient creature whose home and family were obliterated in nuclear strikes, and basically the reason he looks so weird in the first film is because he's covered in radiation scars and burns, so he's basically in constant agony, and his roar is not the triumphant roar that we know nowadays. It's meant to be him screaming in pain, because every time he moves, all of the burns and scars split open and grind against each other and shit. He's a poor bastard in his original outing.
Damn, you actually made me like Godzilla. I hate you now.
Well, Godzilla's cool though.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Singular Point it confirms there are infinite universes within the Godzilla multiverse. They all work on dimensional tiering, and one version of Godzilla is an archetypical entity, but he's not 4D. He's still just a 3-dimensional being, but it implies there could be a higher dimensional Godzilla within that series that exists. And also, because they use archetypes to drag light from... Like, they trap light in an archetype, and the light increases without anything going in it, which defies, like, the laws of conservation of energy. It's because it's dragging light from other points in time. So, when Godzilla fires his atomic breath, theoretically, he could shoot you with every atomic breath he ever has and ever will fire at the same time.
Damn.
I want him to do that if they do another season, because that sounds like it'd be the most absurd thing they could do with that concept.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wait, Nemesis, how is Godzilla vs. Kong?
It's great.
Funky.
Godzilla
Just making
vs.
sure,
Kong's
because
great. It's my favorite MonsterVerse film.
The new one, I mean.
Yeah. It's my favorite MonsterVerse film. By a pretty big margin. Like, I really like King of the Monsters, but the human stuff is so bad. And it's not because that's just how all Godzilla films are. I disagree with that notion, but in that film, the human stuff is not very good. Better than Godzilla 2014, because it wasn't 80% of the film, but still, Godzilla vs. Kong is just, I like it a lot.
Alright. So for the bleed stuff I mentioned earlier, I'll probably, in the comment section of Nemesis' video, just, I guess, reiterate what I was saying about where the bleed lies, because I'll admit, I didn't really think we would talk about the bleed as much, so I'll try to, I guess, redeem myself, because admittedly, I got stumped.
How many days are left before you go?
Let's see, wait. 15... Yeah, 15. 15 exactly.
Alright, how many days is there until the blog comes out?
Yes.
Well, the blog is gonna be, like, the last one, which means it'll probably be in August, but they allowed me to write my prediction, like, prior to it being released, like, much more prior, so... Right. So people will be able to see it even after I leave.
I'll try.
But sadly, I probably won't see, I guess, the reception.
I'll try to edit this within the 2-week span I have. Yeah. Then when the blog comes out,
I'll try to send you.
Drop a link in.
I guess to help speed it up, I'll try to speed it up by sending you all the images tonight.
Yeah. That would be great. Unless you have like a document, because that would be stellar.
Well, I mean, obviously I have like my Kyle write-up on DeviantArt, but I don't want to make you like go through the whole thing to look for what we talked about, so I'll send them to you.
The DeviantArt's not going to be updated for 2 years now.
Ha.
Well, yeah, when I get back, I'm not going to use DeviantArt anymore, probably.
You're going to get back, you're going to use something else, and you're going to be like, BAM! Here's Dr. Polaris.
That'd be the best way to come back.
I just
Dr. Polaris, baby.
Bang comes back, but instead of jumping straight back into it, he like does all the research on Dr. Polaris, so that when he makes his first message back, it can be, so here's Dr. Polaris.
Like, hi guys, want to read my Dr. Polaris write-up?
I'll
do it.
React if you saw back and we say, "Hey, Magneto vs Polaris happened."
I would die of laughter if that happened, honestly, but it's probably going to be Tetsuo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nemesis, I would like to tell you this. When I say Magneto vs Polaris, when I say what if it happens, I'm memeing, but also I would actually be okay with it because I do think Polaris is one of Magneto's best ideas.
Ironically,
He washes his hands.
It's reached a
Obviously
point
the
where
best idea.
it's probably one of my most wanted Marvel versus DCs, and I don't know how to feel about that.
I think Kingsley21 decided this. He says Polaris probably has the best animation potential of any Magneto matchup, and I don't know how to feel about that.
He probably
Yeah.
does, because like I know Accelerator has
Just
more
give Polaris
abilities,
just
but Polaris.
give
I
Polaris
would
a
say,
movie already.
I'd say Accelerator Polaris are probably on par, maybe slightly toward Polaris.
I'm
But
just saying. I
this
think
Polaris.
I remember Accelerator having more, but not like more that are interesting. Like I think Polaris has shot.
Twice is gonna be pissed.
Polaris has shot a black hole at someone at one point. I heard, and that just sounds hilarious.
Polaris, yep. Polaris literally just like he has a magnetic black hole he can just summon.
You just imagine. I feel like I need to make that my community death battle when my time comes around.
Please do, please. I will pay the mods to let you do it early because I want to be there for that. Please, I want my last CDB discussion to be Polaris versus Magneto. So when I get back, I'll write about Polaris, and it'll be the most poetic thing ever.
Yeah.
I know Akil is very solid on Magneto winning, but I don't know how much research.
Polaris? Oh, sorry. I'm going with Polaris against Magneto.
I mean,
I think like in terms
Polaris
of
is a Green Lantern villain, so I think that kind of gives him some advantages from the get-go.
I mean, I'd say he has better like biological manipulation by a long shot. I mean, they have like the same type of overall magnetic and metal manipulation, but I
Now
think
we're
that.
getting off topic. Shut the fuck up. We'll talk
Polaris
about
is
that after the
faster
video.
too, right?
Oh, I want to talk about it. I love it. This matchup so much.
Polaris is faster
Nah.
too.
We'll
right?
talk
'Cause,
about it when we're done recording, you whore.
Mods, please. I will pay you. Actually, no, I won't. I'm kind of broke, but let
money,
Nemesis
bitch.
go. Let Nemesis go, please. I want to discuss Polaris versus Magneto.
When we're done
This-
recording.
Yay!
Small shout out. My sister is awesome and she's cool and I love her a lot. And there you go.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Do you guys know anything I said?
Hey,
My parents will probably watch this video to see if I said any swear words. So
I've got a nice big fish in the tank behind me. How you doing, Ernie? He's not looking at me. He's a little bastard. Well, he's not little. He's like the size of my
my house
forearm.
is empty, so I can't say hi to anyone.
Ernie's
Anyways,
like the size of my head,
That's
so-
been our thoughts on Simone versus Kyle. Simone
it's
the
been a-
Digger.
Versus Kyle Rayner from DC Detective Comics.
So,
Comics.
the bottom line
Or
is...
should I say,
Yes?
bottom line is?
Bottom line is, Simone obliterates Green Lantern Kyle, and it's not even close.
Wow,
White Lantern is
rude.
debatable enough depending on how you go with dimensional
Simone
tiering,
White
but
Lantern is
more
debatable,
often
but
not
more often not,
without
Simone
it.
wins.
Simone likely
Yeah, I'll
wins.
admit, like, I wasn't really freshened up on the bleed as much. I'll try to, I guess, reiterate it later, but I think but disregarding the bleed, I don't really see Kyle getting as high into dimensional tiering as Simon, so, yeah.
And of course...
So, I won't mind Tyler, though, because I love Simon. I love Kyle, so.
Both are great.
Either way,
I am
I will
definitely
be-
hard rooting Simone, but that's because he's literally in my top 10 favorite characters of all
And I'm
time.
hard rooting Kyle, because he's also mine in top 10 favorites, so.
I'm
I
wanting
guess-
I'm wanting to point out that in Australia...
Only one can win, so sorry,
it
Phantom.
It's
Because
okay.
I'm
It
a
makes me
male,
feel
I
better,
win.
Bang. If Kyle wins, then GG's. He's cool enough that I'm not too bummed out.
I need to ask, do you know guys realize
Meanwhile,
that
Constantine's gonna die.
in Australia rooting means to have sex? So when you say you're hard rooting,
I mean, have
do
you
guys,
seen?
do you guys know what that
Have you seen
sounds like to me?
Kyle? Have you seen Kyle, dude? He loves anime movies.
Yeah, I've
That alone
seen
is
White
enough
Lantern
for me
Kyle
to
with the
just
stupid thing on
give
his
him
face.
a big old construct smooch.
Have you seen Simone without the shirt on?
I've seen that one render of
have you
Kyle
seen-
where like his
Yeah.
mask is this fucking gelatinous blob and looks really stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, dude. Have you seen Kyle? Please, you can't tell me that like this man right here. I'm just gonna send it to you right now. How can you not tell me that I wouldn't be rooting for this man? Look at this. Asian movies can't kill him. How is that possible? He loves them. He loves them so much. You can't take that away from him.
Well, I mean, most
A
people
good boy.
most people don't get killed by movies generally, right? How many times have you guys heard of the horrific murderer that is a movie?
Jurassic Park in 4D.
Yes, with dimensional tiering, it's like higher than most DC Heralds.
Wow. But
Hey.
yeah, no.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Nemesis, for having me on here.
It was so much fun.
I
Fun.
really
Glad to have done this.
Simone versus
I gotta
was my
think-
second most wanted matchup of all
And
time.
I gotta give a thank you to the man Akil PDX for the idea, actually, because this was his idea, I believe, to have this video even happen.
Yeah.
So, thank you to my Marvel counterpart.
And I want to thank Syra for helping me with a few Simone stuff. Just a few, not a lot.
And I want to thank Cyber for.
Making 50% of the arguments for
Anyways, guys. Huh?
And also, I want to thank my sister Maddie for being the best big sister ever. Okay, bye.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for being here. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So long, everyone.
See ya.
Have a good day.
See you, fuckers.